Hey everyone, Nate here. Today we are going to be taking a look at ways to paint Grey Knight armor. It's this really cool silver that has these beautiful blue tones in it. I absolutely love Grey Knights. They are hands down my favorite army, but ask basically anyone who paints Grey Knights, they'll give you a different method for painting Grey Knights. Even the studio has multiple different ways of doing it. So today we are going to take a look at not one, not five, but 25 ways of painting Grey Knight armor. Okay, to ensure consistency, I have coated all of these bases by hand with Leadbelcher, just so we have a common base for everything. And I've also gone ahead and filed a cross in all of these so we can see how the washes flow. And then we're going to be doing a combination of washes using Drakenhof Nightshade, Contrast, Talassar Blue, and Contrast Medium, Nuln Oil, and then layering or dry brushing Runefang Steel, Necron Compound, and Grey Knight Steel. And to top it all off, we'll do some edge highlighting with Stormhost Silver. We'll use this for all of these just to be consistent. Whew. Okay, welcome back. I've done a quick and dirty paint of all of these. It has revealed several things to me, perhaps not the greatest test in the world, but it's what we've got for now, so let's work with it. This column right here all received a wash of Drakenhof Nightshade, and then these two received the Grey Knight Steel. This is a layer, and that's a dry brush. These two received the Runefang Steel, again, layer, dry brush, and the bottom column here all received the Necron Compound. This column here received a combination of Talassar Blue and Contrast Medium, and this column here received a wash of Nuln Oil. This column received Nuln Oil, then Drakenhof, and this one, finally, Nuln Oil, then Talassar Blue and Contrast Medium. And looking them over, there are some winners and losers, definitely. If I had to point one, I would say is closest to the studio scheme, closest to what you're going to see in the codex. I would have to say it's probably the layer of Runefang Steel and the Drakenhof Nightshade. If you look through a Grey Knight codex, for my money, that's probably the closest you're going to get. Personal favorite, I kind of like the method for the layered Runefang with the combination of Talassar and Contrast Medium. I think it looks a bit brighter, a bit more vibrant, but it's also a bit more work. So consider, how much you have to paint. It may not be really practical. As far as like Grim Darky goes, I would say probably, again, either the Runefang layered or dry brushed on the combination of Nuln Oil and Drakenhof, because Drakenhof is a good deal darker than the Talassar Blue, particularly when you combine it with Contrast Medium, which doesn't really add a lot of color to it, but as you can see, it is kind of vaguely milky colored, and that does affect the shade just a little bit. So if you want Grim Darky, I would probably go with either of these two. If I had to point to one to say don't bother, it would be this one right here. It would be the Nuln Oil with the Necron Compound. The Necron Compound is really bright, and even if lightly dry brushing it like I did here, it almost completely covers up the Nuln Oil, so you're missing out on all those nice contrasts. And when I highlighted with Stormhost Silver, the Stormhost and the Necron Compound are so close, it's the difference between the two of them is almost invisible. So I would say save your time and either just, like, if you like the color of the Necron Compound, just go with that and maybe don't even bother highlighting it. Unless, you're trying to enter a tournament or something, in which case, it might be okay, but I don't know. I can't really see a whole lot of difference. Yeah, it's visible, but it's a very minimal contrast compared to, like, say, this or the studio scheme. So yeah, as you can see, there are many ways to paint Grey Knight armor. And there's even more ways than just this. I didn't even bother with glazing or, any one of a dozen other techniques. See what you like on your Grey Knights, because remember, they are your Grey Knights. There is no right or wrong way to paint them, and even if you paint it one way, you think you like it when you start out, and then you get to the end and you're like, ew, no. Remember, nothing is permanent on a model unless you want it to be. So thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day wherever and whenever you are. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and consider supporting the channel on Patreon.